Nadine, welcome to Stories of Resilience, the video series. It's good to see you. You are in law, and you work in law. Before you tell me a little bit about your practice and how you've adopted and are continuing to adopt ACEs, how did you find out about adverse childhood experiences? Is it something that's quite a new concept to you and your firm?
It's a new concept in my firm. For me, I grew up in what was and still is one of the most deprived areas in Scotland. I went to school there. Sadly, not all of my peers even got out of that experience alive, sadly. I lost a very close relative in the year that he would have been 16 to knife crime. And I feel that when we were younger, adverse experiences and stress was just something that you lived with. It was just something you had to put up with, and no one really ever talked about it. It was just life. And I grew up and I practiced law, again in very deprived areas of Glasgow. And I saw that, sadly, that generational pattern of stress and adversity hadn't really gotten very much better. People in the legal profession knew about it, we talked about it, but it was quite a difficult concept. Again, it was just something that people dealt with and that we all had to deal with in the legal system. But I remember about a year ago I was invited to a screening of the film Resilience, and it was in a church in the Gorbals, and I was the only lawyer there. There were social workers there were people from the education profession, people from Children First, and I remember thinking, this is it. This is what we need to see. This is what lawyers need to see. This is what decision makers need to see. And it was the wording and the ability to start to put into words what happens to you in childhood has such a lifelong impact. And I knew from the moment that I saw that film, other people in the legal profession needed to see it.
So your practice is Harper Macleod,
Yes.
and over that period, since seeing the film and to today, I suppose, what are you now doing that you didn't do previously in terms of ACEs?
I have really, since I saw that film, began to just start a conversation within the civil sphere of law. It's quite apparent, I think, that in criminal justice there have been early trailblazers. Ian Smith has been talking about this for a long time within the sphere of criminal justice, but in civil justice and in family and child law, there's been a slower uptake. So the first thing that I really wanted to do was to begin to raise awareness in the legal profession, and my firm sponsored, along with Children First, a screening of the film Resilience in Glasgow. We had over 100 solicitors attending. We then have extended that north and had a panel discussion in Aberdeen, and we plan another screening of Resilience in Inverness in the next few months. We have published articles in the Journal of the Law Society of Scotland, and we really just started the conversation, and it became very apparent that other lawyers want this knowledge. They want to know how to help people. People who become solicitors do it because they want to help people and families.
Well, because I was going to ask, was there a level of cynicism, maybe not necessarily in your practice, but throughout the profession when it comes to ACEs?
I don't think it's cynicism. I think that there is an attitude of, we've been doing this already. It's just not that we call it ACEs. We don't call it adverse childhood experiences, but we do these things. I don't think people have been cynical, but they have been slower maybe to understand that the concept of ACEs is not just an abstract concept. It happens every day. It's happening in our courts every day. It's happening in our offices every day. And it gives us a way to connect with our clients and the people who we advocate for in a way that lets us hear their stories fully and then help them to make their own choices and decisions rather than have those imposed upon them. So I think that people have been pretty excited and galvanised about it.
What is it that's caused that light bulb moment? Was it the film Resilience? Is it the movement that is happening across Scotland in terms of the conference from last September. We've got the conference coming in June. A lot of press, the government are on board or appear to be. Is that what's pushing this forward?
I think it's a combination. I think you cannot help but be galvanised and swept up when you hear the stories and when you see the positive changes that people are able to make and that people are able to take ownership of their own lives. It's so powerful. And as I say, I think all solicitors go into practice. People who practice family law, who work with families and children, who practice criminal law, they do it because they want to make a difference. And I think that you cannot help but see that there is something in the air. There's something going on. People are talking. People are sharing. People are being vulnerable. And that can be quite hard for solicitors to be vulnerable about their own stories, and where before their practice might not have been the most helpful. And my hope is that we start to move that up the chain to the decision makers, to the sheriffs, to the judges. And that is beginning to happen.
But a slower burn?
A slightly slower burn. Not too long ago, we had with the benefit of a visit from some American judges, Judge Ginger Lerner Wren and Judge Victoria Pratt, who have real experience of making positive change in court, making courts compassionate, making smart justice work. And really that's what justice should be about, whether it's criminal or whether it's civil. People should come to court, feel that they are heard, feel that they are able to participate in a meaningful way, and that the decisions which are made are there to benefit them. In criminal law, there always has to be an aspect if punishment is required. That can always be balanced against taking into account a person's story. In family law, I always say we're very boots on the ground. We deal with families in a way that's very unique. People trust us. They tell us things that they might not tell the teacher, the social worker. They feel that confidence, and I want to be able to translate that into knowing that the same compassion and care and respect for their story will happen when they walk through the door of a court.
I think there's one key word that keeps coming into my mind as we do these interviews, and it's relationships.
Yes.
And it's quite clear from what you've just said, it is about relationships, the relationships between you and your clients, the relationship between you and your colleagues, the relationships between you and the decision makers. Relationship seems to be at the heart of everything that Scotland's adopting right now.
It's fascinating to me, and it's so inspiring to watch this happen. We have heard for a long time in law about the government's commitment to getting it right for every child. To me, a huge part of getting it right for every child is helping families so that these children can grow up and generation upon generation of children can build on that legacy. It's an exceptionally brave thing for a parent to say, this is my story. I don't want this story to continue. But in order for them to have that bravery, the people round about them need to be able to say, I understand and I want to make it better for you.
So Nadine, the question that we've asked all the guests so far is, what does an ACE-aware nation look like for you?
For me, I want to see the grassroots swell that's happened already continue. The voices that are most important in this process are the voices of people who have lived these experiences. To ignore that would be to just disregard an entire wealth of experience that we have at our fingertips. From a legal perspective, I would love to see us move away from concepts of blame and shame for parents. I would love parents to feel as though when I go to court, if I have to go to court, when I see a lawyer, when I mediate, I am helping my children build a better future. And if part of that is for me to accept that there have been difficulties in my history that have brought me to where I am as a parent, that can be overcome. The adversarial system that we have just now, unfortunately, people feel as though they win and lose. And for me, when there are children at the heart of the process, the child should be the focus as opposed to which parent should win and which should lose. So I would love to see some of the compassionate concepts that the criminal courts are looking at filter through to civil justice, and particularly for families and for children.
Nadine, it's been fascinating. Thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thank you.